The year is 1961, and the Congo isn't feeling too good. It had just recently declared its independence from Belgium, but in less than a few months they fell to civil wars all over the place. There is Leopoldville, Oriental Province, Kasai, and the Katongo. Now, the Katongo was the most important of these schisms, since it had the largest amount of natural resources. Since the Congo's government could not handle all of these successions, they called on the UN. The UN accepted, and to help the crisis, they sent in the UNOC. The UN forces set up their HQ in the nation's capital of Elizabethville, and they sent out a division to Jadotvillle, A Company, the main characters of this tale. They were sent to Jadotvillle because it was vital, since the nearby mines were one of the biggest in the Congo. Even though the contingent was there to protect the people of the village, they were not welcome. But this was the Irish UN A Company, and were led by Pat Quillen, and he could read the mood of the room. He made the company build deep trenches and to always carry their guns. Little did he know how useful this would be in the coming siege. At 7:40 a.m. on a Sunday morning, when almost all of the soldiers were at mass, suddenly thousands of Katangese troops and French mercenaries emerged from the tree line, charging the base. They could have taken the base immediately if it wasn't for Billy Reddy, who was on guard duty, and when he saw the approaching horde he shot a warning shot, hitting the bell, and alerting the other soldiers, who manned their stations immediately and engaged with the enemy. Since they were well fortified, they had a distinct advantage, but the enemy troops had mortars, artillery, and even air support. Now, compared to the only light arms of the Irish company, the Katangese troops thought it would be an easy victory, and with odds of 155 Irish to 4,000 Katangese, everyone assumed they would be crushed, even the higher-ups in command of the UN. But, defying all the odds, they managed to fight off the first wave. This was followed by a few hours of silence, followed by heavy mortar fire, and then yet another wave of troops. But under the expert command of Quinlan, they did defeat the second wave. But Quinlan realized that his perimeter was far too big, so somehow, under the cover of night, he built an entirely new perimeter with trenches and all. That is how much of a Chad this man was. So when the next mortar bombardment began, it did not get a single soldier. But this time, the Katangese called in their air force. At first, the Irish thought it was the UN, until it began to strafe their position, making it impossible to retreat. And I'm sad to say that one scene in the movie was not accurate, but still really epic. They did manage to destroy all the enemy mortars and artillery, and as the Katangese lost more and more troops, they called for a ceasefire. And Quinlan readily agreed so the UN reinforcements could make it, but they were held up by mercenaries outside of Elizabethville, and the Katangese troops broke the ceasefire, charging the Irish company once more. And since A Company was running low on, well, basically everything, Quinlan decided to finally surrender, but not before A Company had killed 350 Katangese troops and injured 3,000 more. They were taken into captivity until December 1961, where they returned to Ireland. But they were shunned for surrender and did not get the recognition they deserved. The fact that they had fought on until they had literally no food or water was ignored, but after 40 years they were finally recognized for their bravery, and now there's a monument in the barracks in Athlone for all to see the story of A Company.